Alright, y'all, I met this OG at a nursery buying a bunch of native plants to install guerrilla style in a gully near his house, which, as you can see, needs some love. So I'm gonna go help him out, help him get these in the ground. This is a real guerrilla gardener. I'm not gonna tell you where we are, I'm not gonna tell you his name, top secret information, but just the paradigm of you can do this, you can get together. I think he did this with the fellow homeowners around the area and decided, hey, let's do something about this. Let's get rid of invasives and plant native species. So really dope dude, stoked to show you what he's doing. Yep. So we talked all summer about growing food from stuff you eat. We recently did an episode on backyard nursery creation, starting your own backyard nursery, community gardening, what to do in your home, maybe kind of native home gardening, including during Christmas. And the most recent episode we did was on vertical gardening in your backyard. All very cool stuff. Today, one of the things I'm most stoked about, you might say it has the most long-term ecological impact of anything you could do. It is the least useful immediately to yourself, but nonetheless still something super cool. Basically what I'm talking about is native guerrilla gardening. So the guy who you're going to meet today, we can't actually show his face because what he's doing is technically illegal. I'm going to call him Bluebeard because I think of him like a pirate, ecological pirate in certain senses. We're here in Bluebird Canyon as well in Laguna Beach, so we can reveal the place. But basically what Bluebeard and his few collaborators have been doing has been replacing invasives and planting native species, such as this lemonade berry right here, at his own cost often, or in consultation with surrounding homeowners. He'll go to a native garden nursery or a native nursery and buy local native plants like lemonade berry, toyon berry, buckwheat, sages, all different types of native important ecological keystone species, and he puts them out here and he takes out and kind of curates it, and he's actually watering something right now. They made a bench, a seating area for people to sit at. Why am I saying all this? You're like, I don't want to do all that. That sounds like a lot of work, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Point is, he saw his surroundings and decided he could take some responsibility for them, regardless of what the city was doing or because of maybe what the city wasn't doing. Yes, you have to be informed to do this well, I think. So his family has some experience in the ecological world. I won't reveal the specifics, but he is a professor and has educated himself in addition to growing up in a family who kind of knew about this kind of stuff. So, don't just maybe charge out into pristine native environments and start throwing seeds around. But most of us live in pretty degraded territory with pretty degraded native flora and fauna. So anything you could do, even if you inform yourself about the basics of what is some native California plants that I could put out, just planting those. If you inform yourself of the basics of a few invasive weeds such as castor, I just knocked down a couple castor plants and planted elderberries. That'll go a long way, right? There's certain things that we know are not good for our environment, and certain types of plants, pretty clear. You can see the castor it's useful for humans and it grows without any human intervention. So if you had a really nasty field, you might intentionally plant it up with castor if you wanted to make some castor oil. But overall, yeah, let's show you around some of the stuff he's done here. So you can see across the way a big stand of gigantic native lemonade berries. Here you can see a couple of the baby plants that he's planted, and in maybe 3-4 years, there's one up here that grew about 4 or 5 feet. So you don't have to wait that long, but you do have to have some patience and some far-sightedness into the future to really appreciate the fruits of your labor here. But I came out, knocked down some castors, planted some elderberries, and feel pretty good about myself. So propagating elderberries and other native plants in this local Laguna Beach Canyon, and gathering cuttings to plant in the Long Beach People's Food Forest. Stoked about that. Keep following me, watch it develop. Join me, help it develop. So one of the favorite things I've seen so far, our eco-pirate, we'll call him Bluebeard for now, noticed that this arroyo was eroding and found these willow trees dwarf. What's the species?
I've forgotten the type, but it's the smallest
A,
of the willows.
a dwarf willow. Took cuttings about 2 feet of branch, stuck them in the mud, and you've got 3 or 4 just right here, and there's more down the way. But that hopefully, solid tree roots and biomass will help prevent some of this erosion, which he reports has dropped about 6 feet in the last year. You said, or the last couple years?
Couple of years, right?
Yeah, but
Only
this
one big El Nino downpour, and there you go.
right. Right. So a lot of this canyon was invasives when him and his partners came in here and started planting up lemonade berry, toyon, California buckwheat. What else did you plant? Sage, black sage, bladderpod, Encelia. Did you say coyote bush too?
And we built a little bridge.
Very nice. Woo! So you too can take charge of your local environment and be a good steward. These beautiful toyon bushes. All right, another cool find here in the Arroyo. Some wild celery, 2 patches of wild celery at least, maybe another one down there. About to try it. Woo! Tougher and way stronger than regular celery, but distinct celery taste, but definitely a tougher leaf. Yeah, very peppery, nice bitter, green flavor, very strong. I just needed that tiny leaf, and my face is waking up. So wild plants are tougher than our spoiled indoor or conventionally grown plants very often, so you don't need as much to season stuff. But that was tasty, wild celery, cool. You never knew.
Well, the city...
The sycamore that they planted?
Yeah. The city planted almost a dozen sycamores, and every one of them except one died because they planted them too far away from the water. They don't bother with any maintenance. They plant something and think, oh, we've done our job, and then they just let everything go. That's the city's approach to their land. It's just let it be.
Right.
And so that means invasive.
And you're an active manager. What is this, a rose? This is a...
That's
that called?
an elderberry.
Elderberry?
That's a rose.
No, it's wild rose?
Yeah, that's the native rose, California rose.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're lovely.
This is a coyote melon growing with a, what kind of fuchsia?
A fuchsia flowering gooseberry.
Fuchsia flowering gooseberry.
Yeah,
and a coyote melon
species
growing through it.
I'm just going to carefully pull this out.
That's the coyote melon. He's extracting it so it doesn't just take over and
I don't want it to ruin
dominate this plant.
This rather pretty plant here. It will do that.
There you go. Throw it downhill.
The toyon can stand
it can handle it?
A vine growing up it, yeah.
Gotcha. Here are the flowers of the fuchsia flowering gooseberry. Deadly spines. Beautiful flowers. This is the canyon, the Arroyo that we're in. I'm sure there's something like this somewhere within 50 to 100 miles of you that you could visit and maybe even do a little bit of caring for.